already on the table. I am ready for a new DIY. Of course, I hope you are also ready and have your blocks on the table too. Of course, we are going to use the smaller tumbling tile blocks. Like I always say, I sound sometimes for people maybe like a record, but of course, make sure that you have 4 until 5 packages laying around in your stash so you can make every DIY. Of course, the container with everything inside, but the most important, of course, is the wood glue. I have here my old saucer with an old piece of kitchen towel to wipe away the glue and some paint as example. You can choose any color you like. We are going to make for today another snowman inspiration. Of course, you can also use the snowman after the Christmas season, but of course this one is also changeable, so you can use it all year round. So you see already I printed out a simple silhouette of a snowman. Of course, I had this picture, so I'm using this one. So I'm going to cut it out. Don't look at the colors, it doesn't matter because we only need the silhouette. So I'm going to cut it out and we're going to look for how many blocks we need for making this snowman. So I already looked for a little bit how many blocks I need, and I have 3 rows of 6. And then this silhouette is fitting nicely inside of here. And of course you're thinking, yes, that's great, but I don't know the size of the picture. And you are right, you don't know the size of the picture. The print I use is, of course, in centimeters. He is 14.5 centimeters. So in inches he is, I have to look for, he is, no, not totally 6. He's a little bit smaller than 6, but he's a little bit bigger than 5.5. So it's in between 5.5 and 6 inches. And of course, if you take the wider side of his belly, in inches it is 3.5, and in centimeters it is, I think, 9 centimeters in centimeters. So then you have also the size of the picture, and you can find a silhouette on Google everywhere. And maybe if you are a great drawer, you also can make your own shape of your thing. You just take 3 rows of 6, then you glue them together and you just mark it on top of here if you are a great painter or drawer. I'm not, so I need a silhouette. So I'm going to place this, and I'm going to glue my blocks. So I'm going to glue my 3 rows of 6 blocks. So I lay them flat on the table, and I'm going to do some glue on the smallest line of the block, like this, and row them together, very easy. And of course, if we are going to have it for 1 snowman and we are going to cut the snowman, so we only have 2 snowmen, and you can go for 2 snowmans, or you can go for 2 of not 1 snowman but for 2 snowmans, and then you have 4 parts because we are going to cut it in half. We're going to squeeze this. We're going to start from the inside to the outside and squeeze it. And we're going to do it over here, squeeze it, and I'm going to wipe away the glue like this, and over here. And I'm still debating if I'm going to start with 2 halves or 4 halves for each side, because I'm going to make a kind of a lantern idea. So I'm going to look for if I'm going to use 2 halves or 4 halves. I'm debating. You see that in a moment. So I gave this 3 parts a couple of minutes, because or else we don't get the open gaps away anymore, and that's not what we want. So we're going to do this first. Place it down and glue them together until 1 plank, because this needs to dry for at least 1.5 hours before you can saw it. And I know not everyone has a jigsaw, or maybe you can do it with a hand saw, but it is really difficult. So a jigsaw is really easy to do. Maybe you have someone around you who can do it if you are yourself a little bit too scared. Because if you are not really common with it, just don't do it, because it is easy, but you have to have a little bit of practice in it. So I'm going to place this aside, and I'm going to make a second one. So you saw me already making the second one of 3 rows of 6, and we're going to do the same like we did with the other one. We just do some glue on the side and do it over here. And we're going to make sure that we get a nice little plank, fill in the open gaps, because that's not what we want. Feel also the sides over here. And now we're going to let this one also dry in for 1.5 hours, because I want to use 4 half snowmen. So now we're going to make the bottom of my lantern, and at least I use it as a lantern, but you also can decorate it for any purpose. So I have 2 rows of 9, and I lay them flat on the table again, and I'm doing some glue against the smallest line. So very simple, like I do right now, and you row them very easy to each other. So, and we do here row number 2, and you see already this is not a square lantern. For me it is a little bit longer, because most of the time I have square ones, but I thought maybe it's also nice to do a little bit of a different one, because this shape is also a nice shape to have in your home to place in your decor. Again, I'm going to wipe away the glue and give it a couple of minutes drying. So I gave both of the rows of 9 a couple of minutes. Now I'm going to do some glue on the tops. Again, like we did also with the part we use as a snowman. Again, you're going to gently squeeze it from the outside and fill in the open gaps, because you want that it is as close as you can. So again, make sure also for the sides, because everything needs to fit nicely later together. So feel with your fingers if you can still move it a little, and you think this is sticking out a little too much, just go ahead and finish. And when you are satisfied, you see already this one is moving a little. So I'm going to squeeze it and let it dry in. And on the table you see the blocks for one of the sides, and this is of course the bigger side, the front side and the back side. This will be, because he is wider and not a square, we can go a little bit different. So we have 2 rows of 9, 2 of 2, and again another one of 2, and 2 loose blocks. So we start with the 2 rows of 9. So we do that very simple, just the same, because this I think the simplest snowman lantern you can find. And of course I do a snowman, but you can do a gingerbread silhouette. You can do it for the Valentine's season. You can do a heart on the outside, a bunny for the Easter season. So you can go on and on. For every season you can do a star, for if you are in America and you do the 4th of July. So you can change this up any way you like. So again, this is 9 blocks, 2 of 9. We're going to squeeze them together this way, and we do here the same. You are going to squeeze it and make a straight line. We do now the 2. This block is not really a nice shape. He has really a cut off. So again, we do 2 blocks like this together, 2 blocks like this together, and this blocks also 2 together like this. And we're going to give it a couple of minutes. So now we're getting one of the 2. We place them this way, straight up. We get 2 loose blocks, and we do some glue on the tops. And we place it exactly in the middle. We do here the same. Do some glue. And we place it exactly again in the middle, and going to squeeze it together. And we're going to wipe away the glue and let it dry in for a couple of minutes. Oh, you see already he's going loose, and just squeeze it and he is fitting nicely. So now we have all the parts we need for the making one side. We place one over here like this. Make sure that you have as straight as you can have it this way. We are going to place this 2. We do some glue on this side and on this side, and we place this one on the one side over here. Now we do from, oh, you see already he is not going the way I want to have it. I'm going to squeeze it this way. Of course, now we have this part and we place it this way. We have to look for that it is not in the wrong way. We do on all sides, we do some glue this way and we place it down and we place him over here. Now we do with this one also on the tops and the bottom, and we're going to place this one over here if everything is nicely. And now we are going to, oh, you see, it's not want to move off my table. And now we're going to place this one over here and make it make it one piece. We give it a little bit of a squeeze, and of course we have to work a little with it to make it fitting nicely. So again, and it is kind of a windows. This, I think that's a little bit where it looks like. And again, squeeze it a little until it has the shape you like, and then you're going to let this dry in for at least an hour. So, and now we have the blocks again for another side of the lantern, of course also the white side, because we have 2 of 9 again, the same like we made here before. And of course, let me know in the comments down below if you like to decorate with lanterns, or maybe that's really not what you enjoy, because maybe it's not everyone's cup of tea that you decorating with lantern. I think it always gives such a cozy feeling. Even when it is in the summer, you can do it with some spring and summer flowers and some maybe some bees, and you can lemons. You can change it up always by the season. I always say it's always very nice to decorate with, but maybe I'm just crazy and you don't like that. That's also fine too, because everyone has their own taste. So again, I have the 2 of 9, I have the 3 of 2. I'm going to squeeze it, and this one, and then I'm going to wipe away the glue, but we're going to let it rest for at least also a couple of minutes. So we gave also this a couple of minutes. What we're going to do, we are going to get one of this blocks, the 1 of 2. We do the same like we did with the other one. We just place it in the half, and also this one exactly against the other one, and you're going to squeeze it, press it together, and we're going to wipe away the glue and give it a couple of minutes rest. So what we're going to do, we're going to get one of the parts again. We place this over, and you see already, this is also DIYing. He is going loose because I was a little too early. Again, we're going to place this on the underside. We're going to get 2 of the 2 blocks, and we do some glue on each side. Place one over here. And of course, we have to be careful with this one because he is falling apart. He's still not totally dry, but it doesn't matter. You can easily get it together again and fill in over here. Of course, 2 things in one time is not really, we could have do it, but of course, I'm going to place this one down and this one down over here. And I'm going to place it over here, do here the same. And you see already, this is why I show you also that blocks falling apart, because it falls apart with everyone. If you are a little bit too early, just like me, but it doesn't matter, because that's DIYing. You make a mistake, you do sometimes things too early, it doesn't matter. So you make sure that this line is also straight, and you place it on top. You fill in over here, and you try to give it a little bit of pressure already, and then you're going to work with it and try to get it as fitting as nicely as you can be. Of course, you have to take your time for it, and if you are happy with the shape, then let it dry in for a 1.5 hour. So you see already on the table are the blocks for both of the sides, the smaller side. So now we're going to do 2 in 1. So we need 4 rows of 5. We need 4 rows of 2, and we have 2 loose blocks. So first we're going to do the 4 rows of 5. They are flat on the table again. and you are going to do the longest line like this, and you just easy do the same like you did with the wider part of the sides. And this is already number 2. And I think this lantern is really easy to make, and I'm really happy how it turned out, especially because I like a little bit kind of a window decor, and you can distress it, you can make it totally your own. And this is of course the 4 of 2, just place them together, and this one, and the last, and then we're going to squeeze it, and we're going to wipe away the glue, and then we're going to give it a couple of minutes rest. Of course, we're going to squeeze from the inside to the outside. Also over here, you can dream already. I think a lot of you who are here already for a long time, they can already dream what I'm saying. But of course, I have to do it because, or else the DIY has not a step-by-step step-by-step idea. So that's what I am always going for, that everyone can make it. So we waited a couple of minutes. We're going to place 2 on the side, 2 of this one on the side, and 1 of this one. So we're going to start with under 1 of 5. We have here our sides. We do the same like we did with the other one, the tops and the bottom. We place it over here. We get a 1 loose block over here and over here, and we place this one exactly in the middle, and we do here also the tops and the bottom, and we place this one also over here, and we fill it in with 1 of 5 again. So very gently we're going to give it a little bit of pressure, not too much, because we still need to redo it. Over here, make sure that, you see already the blocks are trying to get away, but I'm not going to let them. So we're going to wipe away the glue over here. And if you are happy with the shape it has, then you're going to let it dry in also an hour until 1.5 hours. The same like you do with the other panels. Again, I'm happy how he is right now, and I'm going to let this dry in, and I'm going to do the second one. So now we do the second one, and of course we're going to do this one a little bit faster. Just do some glue on this side, place it over here. Some glue on this one, place it in the middle of the 1 of 2. Over here the same. And we're going to place this one also over here. And we do this one on the top. And now we're going to give it a little bit of pressure, and we're going to make sure that we have a nice straight line. And we're going to wipe away the glue this way. And we're going to let this dry in also an hour until 1.5 hours to be sure. So now we have almost all the parts of our lantern, but we still need the top. So we are going to do the same like we did with the bottom. We have here 3, 4, 7, 8, 9 blocks, and we have here again, if everything is correctly, also 9 blocks. So I'm going to always measure it out this way, so it's easier that I don't have to count them. So 2 of 9, and we do them very simple, also flat on the table, and do them this way. And of course you can decorate the top later any way you like. You can make a kind of little kind of roof on top. You can do anything. So we will see what I will do, but for now I'm going to make a plain top, just a little blank. So again, the last, and I'm going to let them dry in for a couple of minutes when I did wipe away the glue. So I gave it a couple of minutes. I'm going to do some glue on the tops, and we're going to place it down, and we're going to, very easy, we can fill in the open gaps, because you see already I have open gaps. But if you wait only a couple of minutes, even when your glue is not dry and everything is going this way, it doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. You just saw it with me. Things are break out, but just place them together again and it glues nicely. If you use wood glue, with hot glue it's much difficult. So I'm going to wipe away the glue and we're going to look for how we're going to dress the top up. So I place my top over here, for 2 pieces of 9. I have now 6 pieces and I'm going to glue them together. So very easy, because I want to dress up the top a little bit more, that it gives a more like a high-end look. And again this way, and I keep it a little bit in the longer shape because it is not a square. So of course also on the top I don't do a square. So I'm going to wipe away the glue, make sure I move it around, place it straight up, wipe away the glue on this side, and then of course also do the back side this way. Then I get 2 blocks of 2. So we do very easy, some glue on the tops, place it together. And over here we get another one of 2 and we do some glue on this side and place it on top of each other. Squeeze it and let it dry in for a little moment. But before we're going to let it dry in, we get a loose block and we do on the smallest line, we do some glue and we place this exactly in the middle of this one. And we're going to let this dry in. You see, this is how it's going to turn out. So again, let it dry in, all of them, a couple of minutes. So I did wait a couple of minutes. What I'm going to do, I'm going to get my top. I'm going to do some glue on this side and place it in the middle. Over here, make sure that I have it really in the middle. And then I'm going to give it a little bit of pressure. Of course, also look at this side, that you have it also on this side in the middle. And this way. And you're going to give it some pressure. You do now some glue on this side of the one of 2, a little on the inside. And then you're going to place this one over here. You do here the same, you do some glue on the underside, over here, and a little on the inside of here. And you're just going to, oop, you see already, he is going loose, but it doesn't matter. We're just going to place this one together again, like this, and we're going to squeeze them over here. And you see, it is so easy to do. So again, and now we need this block, and we do the widest, of course, you have it this shape. If everything is correctly, I'm turning it over, and I'm doing some glue on the underside, and we're going to place this exactly in the middle also. And now we're going to look for on this side if we have it in the middle. Almost, not totally. Oh, over here. And I'm going to do this side. And now we're going to let this dry in. So I have here 2 of the wider side. I have 2 here of the smaller side. What I'm going to do with the wider side, I'm going to do a little line of glue. Make sure that you have enough. I'll do it on this side the same. Over here. And this one. I'm going to do also a line. And on this side, of course, it's one mess with some glue, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to place this one straight up, and we're going to place this one in between over here, and we place this one also in between over here, and we're closing it up with this one. So very gently, feel with your fingers. Make sure that you have it nicely fitting. You can easily go with your fingers to the windows, and then going to give it some pressure over here. Place it to the outside a little. And of course I have to wipe away a little bit of the glue, because on this side it is a little too much, but this is just finger work. You just have to feel with your fingers until you have a nice straight line and that the box is nicely fitting to each other. This way, and then you give pressure and pressure and more pressure on the moment you think he is fitting nicely. So I take my time for it. So I gave this now a couple of minutes because I'm happy with the shape, how it turned out. I've just felt with my fingers that everything is fitting nicely inside. And of course you can always redo it a little until it is totally dried in. I'm going to do some glue on the tops, a line over here, and I'm going to place the bottom. I'm going to go over here. Make sure that you have some glue on each block. Over here. And now I'm going to place my bottom on top. Feel with your fingers that you have them also in a straight line and give it a little bit of pressure, not too much. And again, feel with your fingers that you have it all everywhere as straight as you want to have it. And then we're going to let this dry in also. So now I'm going to have my snowman because my lantern this far is drying. I'm going to get my 2 little planks we made earlier, and I have my pencil, and I'm going to, my idea was to do it in half and do 4 halves, but I'm going to use only 2, and I'm going to make 2 whole snowmans. But of course I'm going to make it a little this way, and I'm folded, and I have a straight line on the underside this way. So this is how my snowman will turn out, because I like more that I have the snowman in front and on the other side, because the smaller sides are a little small. But of course you can do it and make the whole snowman, cut it in half, and you have your 4 pieces for each side of your lantern. But I was debating, and I think I'm going to go for this one. So I'm going to look which one of the sides of my blocks has a nice shape and which one is better. I'm going to look for if this one is better, if I'm keeping it on this side or maybe the other one. I think I'm going to go for this one, and I'm going to get my marker and I'm going to mark my snowman over here and go around and make the lines I want. Of course, I'm going to take my time for it. Don't worry, I won't bore you with that. So you see when I mark them. So I have now both of my shapes of my snowman, and I'm going to go to my garage and I'm going to get my jigsaw and I'm going to saw it out. And it is a very easy shape to saw out. Of course, you can also do 2 little balls, and you also have your own snowman. So you don't have to do it this way. You can do it any way you like. So I'm going to go to my garage and you see when I did cut it out. So, and here you see how the snowman turned out. Of course, first step what I'm going to do, I'm going to paint the snowman. So I'm going to do for this white, of course this black, and then I'm going to fill it in. I really have no idea how this will turn out, but I'm going to start with the black. So I told you I start with the black, but I changed my mind. I'm going to make the whole snowman in the white color. So I have already the base of my snowman. So, and then I'm going to give the accents on his head and the rest. So first I take my time and we're going to paint both of them in the white color. So I have the snowman white and they are drying over here. I'm going to do now the inside of my a lantern also in the white color. You can keep it of course in this color. You don't have to do anything I like. So I'm going to do the inside and I'm going to do the outside of the lantern also with the white color. So now I have my snowmans over here, and I have now some black on my little piece of kitchen towel, and of course I'm going to make the head, and of course I'm going to start on the front side. So very gently I'm just going to fill it in, and I take my time. It is very relaxing to do, so I'm going to do it very slowly. So I take my time for it because I'm not a great painter. So I take my time for his head. So now I did paint his body, I did paint his head, and now I'm going to go and I'm going to make some eyes. I do the back side of a brush because this one is round, and I'm just going to make simple little eyes just over here and over here, and just do a little dot. You can make it as big as you want. So you see, very simple, two little eyes. Later we do a white little spot inside, but for now we are going to keep this one. Now we're going to place the black aside. We're going to get the orange, and I'm going to make a kind of a nose. So I'm going to start with a little dot in the middle, because this is also my first time that I paint the nose, and it has to look like a carrot, because I never made one, because I always do a carrot on himself from a faux carrot. So I never do paint it on top of here. So for me this is also new. So I'm doing my best to make kind of a carrot like this. And of course you can make it as big as you want. And I'm doing a little point over here. And now I'm going to place this one aside, and I'm going to get the black again. And now I'm going to get a mouth. And of course I'm going to make kind of a little dot. This will be a little bigger one. And this one. And you see already, he has already a nice smile. So I'm going to let this dry, and the only thing I'm probably going to do is kind of a scarf. So now I place the red on my table, and I'm going to make a scarf. Of course, I show you this because I also am not a great painter, and so if I can do it, you certainly can do it. So I'm going to make first kind of a half round around it, like this. Just make a kind of a base, and then from this out we go to do it a little bit wider and wider. Of course, as wide as you want to have your scarf, because you don't have to do it as I am. So we're just going to go down, and we're going to try to make a nice little line. Of course, I have a very small brush, but I think sometimes he is even not small enough, but I go a little this way, and I make it now a little wider, because the scarf is also a little wider. So just take your time for it, just to make a half simple round. And then of course I also do the sides, because and the back side, or else it looks very strange. So then I'm going to get my brush, and I'm going to go a little this way. Very gentle. And we go another line. And we go it a little bit wider, and we go for this one to this side, to make kind of he has a scarf. So I'm going to finish off the little lines, but you see already the base how it is being. You can go as crazy as you like. So you see, this is how my little snowman turned out. Of course, I hope you do it a little bit better than I do, but I'm happy with how this one is turned out. I let now everything dry in. And of course, you see in a moment a quick impression, because the lantern is now in totally finished. So you see where I do my snowmans. I was debating if I do them on the outside or maybe on the inside, then they are peeking through the window. So we will see. And here you see finally a quick impression of my tumbling tile blocks, a snowman, a lantern. And of course I did a snowman silhouette, but you can change it up for any season. Of course, everyone who is new here, I hope you enjoy what you saw. And if you do, I hope you will click the red subscribe button, give me a thumbs up and hit the bell, so you will be notified every time I upload new DIYs. For more DIYs, come on over to the description box, there you find the link for the DIY channels. Hope to see you there. Have an amazing day. See you in the next one. Bye.